This is Kay Kritiques. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Kay Kritiques, where we discuss all things South African television. Now, as you can already tell by the title of today's video, we are reviewing season 1 of Youngins, episode 4 to 6. By the time you guys are seeing this video, there's probably 12 episodes out. So guys, please do bear with me. And please do not spoil it in the comments down below. We are only speaking about episode 4 to 6. Now, listen. Amo is stressed about the principal seeing her. As we saw in the previous episodes, the principal had seen her at the club and was trying to hit her up and trying to hit on her. And I just noticed now that the amount of money that he was gonna pay her with was probably like 200 rand. I'm like, really? I have a feeling that the principal probably knew that Amo was underage, because you're not giving a grown woman 200 rands to sleep with you. I mean, there's no amount or any value that we can place and say, okay, this is the correct amount that you can give to somebody, you know, to leave with them in the club, for them to sleep with you, for you to badger them, mama voos and stuff. So I think he probably knew that she was just a young child, and young kids are impressionable. He knew exactly what he was doing. So he tells the gang that, look guys, I think the principal saw us. Oh, Buhle, and she's like, I do not want to be involved. I don't remember the principal seeing my face, so I do not want no parts of it. Mahlatsi is obviously in agreement with Amo, and that's only because he wants her and he's smitten with her. He's like, yeah guys, let's just all confess and tell the truth. And Tumelo and Buhle are like, listen, we do not want any parts of this. Like, he hasn't come to us and approached us. We haven't gotten into trouble. So let's let sleeping dogs lie. Like, let's not even bother this thing. Like Tumelo was saying, it's his word against theirs. If he says, oh, I saw them at the club, they can just say, no, we weren't there. We were asleep, and Matron can vouch for us. We have an alibi. We didn't leave. Khaya actually is referring to Amo as Strawberry, because in the previous episodes when he rated her a 10 out of 10, she was wearing pink and he did call her Strawberry, and he was telling Usifako, yo, Strawberry was there, she was looking so good, you should go after her. Obviously we all know that Sifako is gay. Khaya actually wants to Amo for himself. Like, he's attracted to her and he keeps like speaking about her like, oh, she's so attractive, blah 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 blah. So now let's get back to them being at school at Olifants. Listen here, Mahlatsi, so they are in English class, and I'm like, how many subjects does Pearl teach? Pearl teaches LO, she teaches English, she teaches Setswana. Like I know that you're not going to be able to hire like 5 million teachers. Can they at least try and make it realistic? Mahlatsi, they're in the class and he recites this poem, and it was dedicated to Amo, but obviously he didn't say that out loud. But I was literally a puddle on the floor. I was like, that was so sweet. And I feel like Amo is gonna break his heart, because Amo is also into Khaya as well. Like, they're into each other. They're not gonna admit it, because Buhle and Amo have sort of formed a friendship-ish. When he recited that poem, I was like, that is so sweet. But then in the same breath, I'm like, I fear for his heart. And there was even a moment, or there was a line in the poem where it was like, if I told you I loved you or I love you, would you stay, or would you like fall for me, or would you just let my heart be afraid? I was literally like, oh my goodness, this poem, I feel like this poem is gonna come back to haunt us. It's gonna be a foreshadowing of what is gonna happen. I feel like Mahlatsi is gonna get his heart broken, and I don't want that for him. On this other hand, the matrics are in the maths class, and Khaya, as we've already seen, that he's not very book smart. He's not really a school person. He's more of an athlete. So they're playing into that stereotype that the athletes are always unintelligent, but at the same time Sifako is also intelligent. So I don't think that's the case. I think it's just Khaya And also, I think the abusive environment at home plays a role in this. Let me say something now. De Klerk is one of the worst teachers. He's that type of teacher who favors like the children who do well in the subject, and then the children who don't do well, he'll treat them like crap. The way he speaks, he's like, you're so stupid, and saying all of these things is almost like Khaya's dad. Basically, like, he's very abusive. He embodies his dad in a way, like that authority figure. Yeah, so I think that's probably why he's also not doing well in math, and also because de Klerk is making him feel stupid. I don't actually know Mr. de Klerk's actual surname, like the maths teacher. De Klerk, you're on my list. And we see they're having a test, the maths test, and obviously Khaya is struggling. And Buhle pulls out her phone and sends him the answers, and he gets caught cheating and he gets detention. Now, back to the principal. All the girlies are talking about Principal Bay. I mean, Loyiso McDonald is a handsome man, and I can see why the kids would have crushes on him. I can see why the girlies would have a crush on him. But it's still icky. It's still disgusting as well. But I won't lie. This is something that does happen in schools. But it's always up to the authority figure. It's always up to the teacher. It's always up to the staff. It's always up to the principal to actually set boundaries and actually embody a safe space and be like, you are a child, I am a teacher, there's nothing else that's going to happen between us. We need a storyline like this. Khaya goes to the principal's office and he's advised that, you know what, you need extra lessons, we can get into that, but I feel like you should take a break from soccer because soccer is distracting you. Khaya is actually of the mentality that, you know, there's a lot of people who made it without matric. I can just go and play soccer. And it's like, okay, but how are you going to play soccer if you're not in school? Because they usually scout from universities. So you need to get your grades up, and you are the rule, never the exception. Like, you must never assume just because other people made it without matric that you can do the same, because you need to be of the mentality that I'm glad I put in the work instead of having regrets like I wish I did. You know, you don't want to hold yourself back. You want to leave all options open. It's not that you only succeed with matric or formal education, but it's also a thing of like, you need to have all opportunities open to you. Whether or not you go to university, whether or not you start a hustle straight after high school, but at least if you have your matric, you can always go to varsity if you feel like something else is not working out. So you don't want to shut certain doors because you feel like, oh, the grass is greener on the other side. And now we're moving on to this next episode, which was the soccer game. So now it's the first soccer match of the season of the school year, and they are going against their rivals, the Glen. Safako does mention that they've only lost once in 4 years, so they're probably gonna win. And everybody's preparing for the soccer game. We see Buhle, she's getting ready. She's getting in her bag. And she has a lot of dreams. And I've seen that her dreams are very rigid. And her dreams are very... I feel like she's delulu to a certain extent. She wants literally everybody to fit into the box that she's placed them in. She's gonna be Miss South Africa, then she's gonna go on to be Miss World, then she's gonna go be a WAG, she's gonna get married to Khaya. Khaya needs to be playing for Bafana at that point. And then she's going to become the first female president of South Africa. I mean, it's nice to dream and it's nice to have those big dreams. I mean, we serve a God who can do those things, right? But Buhle, be so for real right now. First of all, do you think Khaya's gonna marry you? Second of all, what if Khaya ends up not wanting to play soccer? What if he gets injured? So I feel like her dreams are very rigid and everybody must go according to her plan. So we see her controlling and insensitive nature in that way. And then as the gents are getting ready in the locker rooms, we see a guy named Simba. They have a little bit of a spat. I don't know, but I feel like this is going to come back later and it's going to play a bigger role later because we see that they don't really see eye to eye. So we're going to keep an eye out for Simba because I think he will be relevant later on. So now we are at the match, okay? And Tumelo is busy cheering Usufako on. Obviously, Usufako doesn't like that. I mean, he feels like, you know what, this is suspicious and he doesn't want to be associated with Tumelo. He's like, why are you doing this? Why are you even shouting my name like you're being suspicious? People are going to suspect that me and you are associated in some way, and I don't want that. And I don't want you to ruin things for me. So just tone it down. Why are you even here? Are you trying to set me up, or what's going on? Right? And we see at the match that Khaya gets a penalty and he misses the penalty. Everybody's distraught. Everybody's angry at him. Everybody's disappointed. But we see a stark difference in the way Buhle reacts and the way Amo reacts. Buhle is over like, you're ruining my reputation. Like, I'm a wag. I'm busy here shouting and supporting you, and you're gonna disappoint me. Wah, wah, wah. And I'm like, does Buhle even love Khaya? Or she just likes the aesthetic? She wants to be a wag, so she went after Khaya because she knows that Khaya was an it boy and she's an it girl in school, and then he's an athlete, so she's already seeing that, oh, Aisha Curry vibe. That's why she's with Khaya, not really because she loves him. And then you see Amo on the other hand, she's like, listen, you missed a penalty, but it was the first match. You'll do better next time. Up until that point, you were playing well, so don't stress about it. And you see him perking up, and I'm like, Buhle might just be pushing Khaya into Amo's hands, and their relationship is toxic. I mean, Khaya cheats all the time and all of this other stuff. But one thing about me, I'm all about girl code. I do not support Amo getting with Khaya in any shape or form. Usufako goes to confront Tumelo like, what are you doing? Why are you here cheering for me? Like, why are you doing this? Are you trying to get us caught? Blah, blah, blah. Then he's like, listen, I feel like I led you on and you're catching feelings. And when you're catching feelings, I don't think this can go on. So he breaks up with him. He was down bad afterwards. And I'm like, okay, so you just shot yourself in the foot because you just broke up with this guy. And I'm like, does Sefako actually love Tumelo? He was so distraught. He was so depressed. His reaction to dumping somebody, I thought maybe he would be angry. He would be like irritated. But no, he was sad. So I was actually shocked. I was like, oh, you don't want to risk getting outed. You don't want to risk getting caught. I mean, that's valid. Like, he's not ready to come out. So who are we to judge? So then we see their rooms get searched. So this is a random search and the principal is targeting them. The principal is onto them and is targeting them. And they actually find in Buhle and Amo's room, Buhle's dildo named Bob the Builder. The matron uses the dildo and I'm like, ew! Like, why would you use this thing that was in another woman's? That is disgusting. You don't even know if maybe she has something. They nearly find Mahlatsi's weed stash, of which that makes him panic enough to go and dig a hole outside the school, like to dig a hole in the middle of nowhere. They quickly realized that they were the only people who were searched. So only 3 rooms were searched. It was Tumelo and Mahlatsi's, Sefako's and Khaya's, and Buhle and Amo's rooms. And then they're like, okay, the principal is onto us and he's trying to send a warning. And Amo's like, listen guys, we can't let the principal walk all over us. Let's fight him, let's confront him. And everybody's like, are you serious? Like, are you crazy? Our lives were fine. We didn't have any problems until you came around. Tumelo's like, I've never had my room searched before you went and got us into trouble. And Buhle's like, let this thing go. I do not want to get into any more trouble than I already am in. Like, girl, just let this whole thing go. Now, in the next episode, we see Tumelo is like, listen, I'm getting back in my bad B era. Like, I'm not going to be down and out because of a man with my bear now who doesn't want to take me seriously. Meanwhile, Mahlatsi is busy facing Ikwababa this side. He's been struggling to try and tell Amo how he feels. Tumelo goes ahead. He's at lunch. He's trying to buy some food at the cafeteria. And they have this little meet cute with this girlie named Alex. And he's smitten. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I thought Tumelo is gay. I don't know. Maybe I'm mislabeling him, but I was very confused by that. So meanwhile, Mahlatsi, on this other hand, he's like, listen, Amo, I want to meet you at the netball courts. There's something that we have to talk about. Listen, this boy friend zones himself. He puts himself deeper in the friend zone. And then I was like, I thought we were friends. I would even go to the extent to say that we're best friends. You were almost there and then you fumbled. Meanwhile, Amo, I feel like, has some feelings, some smallanyana feelings for Mahlatsi. So then we see Buhle and Amo getting called into the principal's office, and the principal does discipline Buhle. Is like, you're the head girl, like, why are you doing this? How would your parents feel if they found out about this? And then confronts Amo and he's like, nothing goes unpunished in this school. You're not like, oh, Buhle, you have a lot to lose, which is true. And he was basically threatening her, like, toe the line, otherwise you're gonna have to be expelled from the school, right? As she's leaving the office, she sees this other girlie putting on lip gloss and walking into the principal's office. Amo's literally by the door eavesdropping. He's referring to Buhle's dildo. He's referring to Bob. And he's like, have you ever seen one of these before? And then she's laughing and she's like, I might have. And then he's like, oh yeah? And then we get there, like, they make us assume, and I'm sure this is where the story is going, that Principal Bay is not only sleeping with school kids, but he's sleeping with kids at his school, where he's the principal, in the office, which is disgusting. Like, what? And that was basically episode 4 to 6 of Youngins season 1. And listen here, I feel like my predictions are still on par. Buhle and Amo are going to become friends. They're going to get closer, which has already happened. And then I also thought that Khaya and Amo are going to go behind Buhle's back and date. I feel like that's still going to happen. The way things are going, they like each other. So I have a feeling that it's going to get there. Tumelo and Lephatsoana broke up. So I don't know if Lephatsoana was still gonna get outed. And then I thought that Amo was gonna be the one to get with the principal, and then the principal is gonna get arrested. But I still feel like the principal is gonna get arrested, Amo, because she's been saying, we need to confront the principal, we need to fight, we can't just take this lying down. She's gonna try and expose the principal, and she's gonna succeed. But yeah, guys, that is Youngins season 1 episode 4 to 6, and I will see you guys in the next episode.